The teams included in the Valorant Franchise League have now been announced, but with only 10 slots in each region, some huge teams have missed out on a spot. I'm Commend, and I'll go over the biggest teams that didn't make it, and why Riot didn't think they deserved it. I haven't included any Pacific teams here because I'm not too familiar with the smaller teams in that region, so if you think I should have included a certain team, let me know in the comments. Let's do this. Xset have been a staple org in NA Valorant for a while, and most recently made a fairly deep run at Champions, boosting their fanbase with post-match press conferences, broken killjoy turrets, and sunglasses. They didn't make it into franchising though, and with only 5 NA slots, it makes sense considering the relatively small size of the org compared with the likes of 100T, Sentinels, and Cloud9. Their content and viewership weren't huge, and this was a huge factor in deciding whether or not teams made it in. Cryo has already moved to 100T for next year, and it's likely that other players on the roster will move to partnered teams too. Unluckily for them, apparently the entire roster was supposed to go to G2 in their partnership team next year, but we'll talk about the whole G2 situation later. FaZe are a massive brand in esports and have a pretty successful Valorant team. What they don't have though is a lack of controversy. There's no doubt that Riot didn't want to deal with any kind of crypto scams, problematic content creators, or anything along those lines, and so it was easy to leave FaZe out. They also haven't been to any international events and don't have quite the fanbase of other orgs in NA, so we'll see if FaZe decide to play in the Ascension League next year or just leave Valorant completely. FPX are widely considered the best team in EU right now and have won a Masters event this year, so the news that they didn't make into franchising was a bit of a shock. When you look at the org's history though, it makes sense. FPX are a Chinese org that doesn't have a huge fanbase in CIS, despite that being where their players are from, so this was likely the main reason that they didn't get in. You can tell that the org isn't super familiar with English from their announcement post. On behalf of the FPX esports, we're shocked and disappointed regards this result. All is not lost for this roster though, as it's rumoured that they're moving to Na'Vi, who did make it into franchising. Na'Vi are a huge org in CIS, so this move makes perfect sense. Artists might miss out on the move though, so we'll have to wait and see. The Guard are my personal favourite team, and I was super disappointed that they didn't get in. They're the youngest org in this video, but seem to tick every box for Riot. A strong brand, good viewership, which was mainly down to their success in Stage 1, and financial stability because they're backed by Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, a massive company who own multiple sports teams, including the St. Louis Rams, Denver Nuggets, and Arsenal Football Club. They even have access to the SoFi Stadium in LA, and it still wasn't enough. The players will probably move to other franchise teams, but the Guard seem to have plans to stay in Valorant and compete in the Ascension Leagues, and I'll be supporting them there. TSM haven't had much success in Valorant recently, but they are a huge name in esports. Fighting games, shooters, MOBAs, even chess. They have signings in almost any competitive game you can think of. You'd think that they would be a lock for franchising, and they seem to think so too, as reports pre-announcement said that they were looking at signing the OpTic roster for 2023. However, they failed to make it in, and this is probably due to their CEO Reggie. In 2021, employees and players of TSM publicly accused Reggie of workplace bullying, and he was fined $75,000 after an investigation by Riot. It's likely that Riot didn't want to have to deal with any of these issues again, so decided to leave TSM out of the Americas League. If you're following Valorant news, you'll likely know about G2 already, but I'll go over it quickly for those who don't know. G2 had a confirmed spot in the Americas League behind the scenes. It was all ready to go. Their CEO, Carlos, then decides to post a video on Twitter of him partying with Andrew Tate, with the caption, "Yesterday we celebrated G2's World Championship." This wasn't good for the org's reputation, but it was made 10 times worse when he decided to then double down on it with another tweet saying, "I party with whoever the F I want." Yeah, safe to say Riot weren't happy at all, and they pulled G2 from the Americas League, giving the spot to Evil Geniuses instead. After all this happened, Carlos stepped down from the org, with people wondering if he really was forced to leave due to single-handedly losing the org millions of dollars from the Valorant partnership spot. Either way, this screwed over the Xset players, as they'd almost finalised a deal with G2 to play for them in the league next year. Now G2 have to make a decision whether they play Ascension in EU or NA, or even at all. We'll see how it plays out. OpTic were arguably the best team in the pre-franchising era of Valorant, with top 3 placements at 4 of the last 5 LAN events, including a Masters win. They deserved that title completely. Unfortunately, Riot didn't feel that the org deserved a partnership spot. This is probably due to their slightly questionable financial stability, shown by their odd handling of the org's LCS team and a company takeover. OpTic just fell short of other teams in NA on every metric, besides viewership, that Riot were taking into consideration when picking the franchise teams, which is a shame, as we won't get to see the best team in the world play together next year. Ye looks to be headed to C9, Crashies, Victor and FNS are reported to be going to NRG, and who knows about Marved. It will be interesting to watch the players go against each other after seeing them play together for so long, and if the OpTic loud rivalry can continue despite the roster split. All of these teams had a claim to make it in, but ultimately didn't. They can still make it into the franchise leagues through Ascension though, so don't stop supporting them just yet. My aim is to get watch party permission for the Sao Paulo kickoff tournament in February next year, and I can't do that without your help, so please like, subscribe, and let's make it happen. I've been Commend, hope you enjoyed, thanks for watching.